Good morning, children. Today, we're going to learn about friction, what friction is, and I'm pretty excited about it because you'll learn about some amazing things today. So, what is friction? What is friction? Friction is a force, okay? It is a force that you cannot see, but we don't that you cannot see. However, it does exist. Because we cannot see it, so we tend to ignore it in our daily life. Okay, so friction is a force that occurs when two objects run against each other. Okay, when two objects run against each other. Okay, so let me show you a few examples of friction. So as you know, we are using little cars to find out force and force. So today I'm going to again show you. I prepared this little ramp using the laptop table, and I'm going to just leave the car from here and just notice the speed of the car. Okay, so this was the speed of the car. So what was happening? The tires, the wheels of the car were rubbing against this wooden surface. And the friction was very, very less. बहुत कम friction था. That is why the car moved pretty fast. Okay? The car moved very fast. So when the wheels were rubbing against this surface, the car moved very fast. Now let's see what will happen if I cover this ramp with a piece of with a cloth. Okay? अभी तो ये ऐसे है. अब इसे क्लॉथ से कवर करते हैं एंड देखते हैं कि कार उतनी ही स्पीड से वापस आती है या नहीं. ओके, सो विल अगर वो सेम स्पीड से आती है, सो दैट मीन्स फ्रिक्शन इज लेस. इफ द कार स्लोज डाउन अ लिटिल बिट, दैट मीन्स द फ्रिक्शन इज लिटिल मोर. आपका ऑब्जेक्ट जितना धीरे मूव करेगा, दैट मीन्स उतना आपका फ्रिक्शन ज्यादा है. एंड जितना कम मूव करेगा, जितना धीरे मूव करेगा, दैट मीन्स उतना आपका फ्रिक्शन कम है. ओके, लेट्स सी. सो हियर इट इज. आई हैव कवर्ड दिस विद अ क्लॉथ दैट आई यूज टू वाइप माय डॉग्स एट टाइम्स. सो ओके, दिस इज अ टॉवल. So you can see the difference in the surface. This is wood, okay, and this is a cloth. Both the surface are different. It's a bit ripply. However, this one is flat. Absolutely flat, and is comparatively softer than this one. So now let me put the car here. Okay. Now see the difference very clearly. Okay. I'm going to put the car here and we'll see if the car moves slow or fast. Did you notice the difference? Watch the video again. Okay, let's see again. I'm removing this. Look at the speed of the car. It came down pretty fast. Now with the cloth, it wasn't as fast as before. Now see, notice the difference. It was a little bit slower, right? Now let's try this on the flat surface also. Okay. This is the car. I'm going to give it a push. Okay. Now this is the car. I'll give it a push, and this time you're going to use I'm going to give it the push. It's a little harder for the car to move. See, even if I'm giving it a strong push, it's not moving that fast. But here, that's it. Okay. So this was friction. That means this surface, when it is being rubbed against these wheels, is giving less friction. बहुत कम friction दे रहा है. इसीलिए कार क्या हो रही है? बहुत जल्दी move हो जा रही है. Okay? जैसे आप कभी कहीं जाते हो and suddenly you see that the road is not straight anymore, but it's almost like a ramp which is allowing you to go down, right? So आपको कई बार गाड़ी को एक्सलरेट ही नहीं करना पड़ता बिकॉज वो ऑटोमेटिकली नीचे जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ वेरी लेस फ्रिक्शन. ओके, एंड नाउ ऑन दिस सरफेस देयर वाज मोर फ्रिक्शन. इस surface के comparative. It has more friction. So our car was moving slowly. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Okay. Now we talked about the wheels being rubbed against this surface and this surface. Now let's do one thing. Let's use our hands and try to rub your hands against each other. अपने हाथों को आपको रब करना है अब. ठीक है? Try to rub your hands against each other. Let me just set up my camera and I'll show you. Okay. Now these are my hands. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rub my hands. These are my hands. Now rub your hands. Now. Okay. Now go slow. Now go faster and harder. Means आपको हाथ को दबाना भी जोर से है. Like this. And fast करना है. Now do it for 1 minute. Okay. Do it for 1 minute. Set a timer. Now do you feel something in your hands? What would have happened? Now touch your face with the hands. What happened? The friction, because you were rubbing it against each other, what was the force? It made your hands warm, right? It made your hands warm. So that was the friction. That was the friction. That was the force generated by rubbing your hands together. Same way, we have this, right? We have this. What is this? This is a matchstick. We have a matchstick. Let me take out a matchstick. Okay. Now, how do I light it up? So for lighting it up, I will have to rub the stick on this surface right here. Right? I have to rub the matchstick here. This part of the match will be rubbed against this. And what will be the force? But something will happen. This happens. Yes, the matchstick will light up, right? And again, why did it happen? When I rubbed the matchstick against the side of the matchbox. So the matchstick lit up, right? So this was again friction. When two objects rub against each other, the force that is generated is called friction. So now let's have a look at your bicycle. So what happens in a bicycle? What are we going to talk about there? So in a bicycle, you would see that you have tires, right? So one friction is when you're coming down the hill. Suppose you're coming down the hill, right? You actually don't have to paddle. You have to paddle or the bike comes down automatically. खुद ही आ जाती है because of less friction. Okay, with the ground, between the ground and your tires. And now if you want to stop, what do? You press the brake, right? So then let's see how you do that. Okay, so here is a cycle. I have put it upside down because otherwise the tire won't move and I'll have to move the whole cycle forward and backward for you. So I have put it upside down. So I'm going to show you the friction by showing you the brake and the tire. Okay, so this is the tire, this is the wheel of this cycle, and I'm going to move it. And now, how do you stop it? All of you must have the tire, have a cycle at home, and then you're moving forward, and then you want to stop. So what do? You press the brake, and the tire stops, right? You press the brake, and the tire stops. And now, how does this happen? This is friction again. So here, when the tire is moving, the tire gives you to move forward and backward, right? And this part right here, can we please focus here? This part right here is the brake, okay? Now this part of tire, this part is metal. This part is made of rubber. Remember the metal and rubber? We learned about this in materials class. And now these are your brakes, okay? Hand brakes. Okay, cycle has hand brakes. So these are your hand brakes which you have to press in order to stop the bicycle. So now how is this connected from here to here? So you see this wire? ये देखो, there is this wire. इस ब्रेक की ये वायर देखो यहाँ से जा रही है. It's going up all the way here and connecting right here. And then उधर के साइड का जो ब्रेक है on that side, वो वहां से कनेक्ट होके ये पीछे वाले टायर पे गया है, right here. Okay, so what happens, this is again made of metal, this part. However, can you see this little part right here? This has the most important part to do. This is called brake shoe. Okay, brake shoe कहते हैं इन्हें. And these brake shoe need to be changed after a time. You would have heard sometimes the vehicle जब आप उसे चलाते हैं और ब्रेक मारते हैं तो वो आवाज करते हैं. That because क्योंकि टायर और ब्रेक शू आपके एक दूसरे के अगेंस्ट रब हो चुके होते हैं, then they start making the noise also. So change करते हैं लोग for better grip. And then how it happens is, now have pay good attention. Okay, I'm going to move this and I'm going to break it. So what will happen? This metal will rub against the brake shoe. Now brake shoe is made of your rubber and plastic. Okay, your rubber and plastic. So what will happen when they will both rub against each other? What will the friction be? So let's see. I'm going to move the tire. 1, 2, 3, go. It's going in good speed and brake. It stops. What happens? It just stops. It has a grip. It just quickly stops the tire right there. So this is how the brakes work for a wheel. And this is why they are very important. So it's sending a signal right from here to here. I'm pressing this and you can see the movement. Alright? Okay, so that was our cycle. So you saw that when the brakes are rubbed against the wheel, the tire, so what happens? आपकी bike या आपकी cycle रुक जाती है. The same thing happens with other vehicles as well. And now during the monsoon time, we face a little bit problem with the vehicles, right? We do face the problem. What happens in the monsoon time is, other times, let's talk about the other times first. When our vehicle is moving and we apply the brake, our vehicle can stop instantly. Suppose the vehicle is coming and the car stops. You press the brake and the car stops. During the monsoon time, now during the other time, we don't have water here on the floor. So it is the ground, it is the road and your car. But during the monsoon time, it's not just the road, it's the wet road. The road is wet. So what happens, even if you have applied the brake, sometimes the vehicle which is moving ahead of you, suppose it applied the brake and then you also saw that this person has applied the brake and you also tried to apply it, because of the less friction, the vehicle does not stop and then you bump into it. So this does happen during monsoon time. You would have seen, we hear a lot about people bumping into each other just like that. Okay, we hear a lot about people bumping into each other because the surface has water during the monsoon time, like in these days. Sorry, my phone just keeps on falling. During these days, right? This is why even if you are riding a bicycle or you are driving a car or riding a scooter or a bike, you have to be really careful. Very, very careful. Okay, now with the bicycle or with your motorbike, you have to also maintain balance. But with the four-wheelers, you don't have to maintain a balance. So they give you a little more friction than the two-wheelers. Okay, now less friction means, listen again, less friction means the object will move faster. The object will move faster. And more friction means the object will move slower. So now imagine this surface right here. This is a rug. So this surface right here, now when I'm pushing it, the car is moving, right? Now if I put it here and I push it, see, it's not moving. That's the difference. That means this surface is giving it less friction, कम friction है यहाँ पे, इसलिए car move हो गई. But जब ज़्यादा friction है, so car is not moving as fast as it is moving right here. Okay, so this is your less friction or more friction. So now you would have seen the swings in our school. The slides, ऐसे होती है हमारी slides जिसमें you sit down and then you come down, right? The swings in our school. So let me just show you here. Okay, so this is a swing because I don't have an actual swing, so I've drawn it for you. So this is a swing. This is the ladder that you take to go up, and then what do? Here on this part, you have to push yourself up, and then when you sit here, what do? You give yourself a little push, and then you swing, you come down. So that means this surface here, you would have seen all the swings in our school, all the swings, including the jungle gym swings and the other swing that we have, the separate one, the purple and green one, right? Both the swings have the same material, right? And what if these swings are made of a piece of cloth? इसके ऊपर एक कपड़े की layer लगा देते, ऐसे कपड़े की layer, like something like this, or maybe what would have happened? It would have given you less friction, बहुत कम friction मिलता, and आप इतने smoothly नीचे नहीं आ पाते. Now this surface gives you, ये आपको ज़्यादा friction देता. This would have given you more friction and you wouldn't have been able to come down. Okay, that means more friction means not very smooth and quick movement. But this surface gives you very less friction. इसमें ज़्यादा friction नहीं होता है. So आपको वो बहुत जल्दी woo करके आप नीचे आ सकते हो, like quickly. Right from here, you give yourself a little push and then you just slide down, right? So this is the reason some things are made just like that. And anyways, it is again like a ramp. ऊपर से आप नीचे आ रहे हो, right? So anyways, these ramps give you less friction already. Ramps में ये होता है कि less friction already मिलता है आपको. And then if it is really smooth and flat, then it makes it even more easier for you. Okay, so now in the message I have sent a project for you to solve. Okay, now do that. If you want, you can make a video, and if you don't, it's up to you if you don't want to make a video. But I'm sending a fair test sheet in which you have to write down everything that you have done. Okay, so you can just create a ramp like this for flat surface, or just you can just just take a table and make it like a ramp. So it's all up to you. Okay, so make sure you click pictures if you don't want to send a video, but make sure you click pictures, and those pictures should be in your science notebook. All right.